Today's artist behind the United Art Gallery is Nadia Bulabula, a painter from Modena in Italy. Ciao Nadia, how are you doing?
Hello Marcos, thank you very much for this opportunity. Hello guys, it's Nadia here, and I hope that all of you are fine and safe in your countries.
That's a great start, yeah, I hope so too. So as always at the beginning, tell us a little bit more about you and maybe also go on and tell us how you became a painter.
Okay, so basically my story is I don't want to say a sad story, but it's a kind of sad story because when I was a child, I spent all my let's say child period and teenager period drawing and doing things related to art, and so let's say that I had a kind of talent. But then when it came to the time of high school, my parents did not agree for me in going to an let's call it as an academy. In Italy it's called Accademia of Belle Arti, and so they didn't want me to going on with this field, as well as many of my professors, because I was really good also at school in math, economy, so I was really good basically in every subject. And so that's why I kind of give up with my passion, because of at high school you have to prepare tests, you have to study a lot, and so on. And also at university, I decided to study engineering, and now I'm working as a biomedical engineer in a healthcare company. And I'm also working in a field that is strictly related to the coronavirus situation, also at, let's say, at my engineering job. But then something happened when I guess 5 or 6 years ago, for Christmas, I received as a gift a kit for oil painting, and then I started to just try these new colors that I think that was my ex-boyfriend, yes, that gave me that gift. And suddenly I recognized the fact that I was able to paint, even if I've never take art class or painting. I was able. And so I said, no, in my previous life, probably I was a painter or something like this, because no, it was really incredible for me. Also the first one, I was able to do shades and do a lot of things. Then unfortunately I was still at a master degree, so I really had many things to do during the day, and I couldn't start painting, and so I started okay, I finished the master, then I do another one master year course, then I start different jobs as an R&D engineer. I work in the field of research and development, that is also really interesting and challenging. But then let's say I was always not satisfied with my life. I was always feeling uncomfortable in the company, and also in what I was doing, even if okay, I like my job and I'm not passing 8 hours per day just looking at the watch and saying, oh my God, what's the time, I want to go home. No, it's not the case. But I started feeling that there was something wrong. And so I think more or less 1 year ago, I met a person, and this person had 2 jobs. During the day, he was an engineer, and during the night, he was a photographer. And so it was a really challenging example for me. And so I started to and thinking something like, okay, but if there are many other people all over the world that they are managing 2 jobs, why can't I try to do the same? And so that's how I started painting. I don't want to say every day, but yes, every week I try to do something. And I started also to, in this period, I also have personal, and I call it the soul awakening of myself, because I discovered really what was within myself and what I really wanted to do. And it also has to deal with many other aspects in my life. And since I started doing this project, that I prefer to call it, to define it as when I started to finally pursuing my pathway, everything in my life has shifted. And I also met more interesting people as friends, and also my job, yes, okay. It's not the job of my dream, of course, but I also live it in a different way. So I say, okay, I have to go to job for 8 hours per day, but then I have my art and my passion that it's what seriously helped me in everything in my life. And without that, I cannot be myself. And so I discover a new version of myself, new friends, new activities, and so that's why I am here. And I also painted, of course, in the quarantine situation, because there was nothing else to do. And I think that I tell you more or less the beginning of the story.
I think it's a beautiful story. Maybe it started sad, but it turned out beautiful, like a butterfly is involved.
Yes.
Really sounds good. Because you said already, how was the lockdown situation in Modena?
Okay, the situation for me during the lockdown was kind of sad, because unfortunately I live completely alone in an apartment, and my family, I live in Modena, but I moved in Modena when I was at university. So I moved here when I was at the age of 21, 22. My family, so my mother and father, they live in Piacenza. That is a small town, also always in the same region, but is like 10 kilometers close to Codogno. That is the small village where all the COVID situation spread in Europe. And I also have a lot of colleagues from high school and middle school that they were from Codogno, because Piacenza is the biggest town in this area. And so I met a lot of people that were the first one that were locked down in their small villages. So even if here in Modena the situation started to get worse in the, let's say, middle March, when basically the government said, okay, you all have to stay at home, working from home and not going out, I started feeling a lot of anxiety in the early beginning of the story, because my parents, they both work as doctors. And in the beginning, as you know, no one knew about how the virus was spreading, and how can you take the virus, I don't know, from objects, from people, from many other things. And so my mother was really worried about the situation, and I was it as well, because a lot of people in my region, that is Emilia Romagna, every day take the train. And for example, as I did for university the first year, I did Piacenza Modena every day. That was okay, 40-50 minutes by train. But if you think, okay, a lot of people, it's moving every day, if the virus is in Codogno, of course, it will be in Modena in 15 days. So it was really challenging. And then basically 2 days after the government announced the fact that we had to stay at home, my parents discovered that they were both sick, because a colleague of my father got the COVID, but in a seriously bad version. I mean, he was in hospital, and he could barely breathe, and so on. Fortunately, my parents, they were at home. They just had fever and some cough, but the situation did not get worse for them. By the way, when I painted the painting that I sent you, the feeling was exactly the title of the painting, that is Siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. This title is the last sentence of the national Italian anthem, that literally says something like, we are ready to death, Italy called us. Because in that period, the government stressed us a lot on the importance of how our personal behavior could influence also on the health of other people. That is something that seriously nowadays everyone is already thinking about their own self. We are it's just ego stuff. I mean, people is really selfish, and they don't even think to the fact that there are minorities. I don't know, for example, people who normally live with illnesses or something, for example, that could that their life could be seriously threatened by a common flu every single year. And so we are ready to death because it was. I remember that my dad was. He basically had the fever for 15 days, and this situation was not evolving. I mean, it was he always had fever at 37, 38 degrees during 10 days. At a certain moment, I said, okay, my father is 63 years old. If he's lucky, it could be okay. If he's unlucky, maybe he could go to an hospital. And the saddest part is that, okay, I'm here in Modena, 100 kilometers far from my family, so I couldn't help them, for example, for groceries and cleaning. And they passed like almost 2 months alone at home without seeing anyone. And at a certain moment, I really think, okay, I have to be ready to everything, because everything in this situation can happen to me, to my family. For example, if my father dies, I have to take care about my brother and mother and so on, because we can have troubles. And another fact that really influenced me a lot is that I also, my 3 best friends that I have here in Modena, they all work as nurse in hospital, and they also live the situation in a completely different way. But basically, it was a situation where everyone I was surrounded by has to deal with COVID. And I also know people that, for example, grandma and grandpa or aunts, uncles died due to the COVID situation. And hopefully I'm alive and my parents are alive. We are all okay. And it was a really stressful period. But as I told you before, fortunately now I am more awakened. I am more grounded, let's say. And I know that it's not important what's happening, but I have my art, and when I have art, I have everything, and I can stay alone even if there's happening at all. I don't know, the end of the world, because in the first 2 weeks I was, I don't want to say crying every single day, but the situation was scaring. I mean, a lot of people dying, and I didn't know what to expect. But I said, okay, if it is a virus, more or less, sooner or later it will stop. I don't know how. Let's hope really soon, because I stopped to watch the TV and the news in order to stay more centered, because otherwise you'll got crazy with all of this information about the economical situation, the healthy situation. So this was the COVID-19 in Italy. And another saddest things that I noticed was the fact that when Italy started the lockdown, all other countries in Europe and in the United States, they didn't understand the situation, and then they labeled Italian as, "You're crazy, what the hell are you doing? It's just a common flu." Okay, but now that a lot of people has died, I don't have the count actually, but I think that Here we are more than 30,000 people that so I really hope that this period could help the world to be a better world, that we can all respect each other, and besides this cultural difference from Germany, France, and so on. And so that's why I'm really happy to take part of your project, because if you are taking a lot of artists all over the world and also all over Europe, because I don't want to say that in Europe we have a problem, but after this situation, I have some doubt about the European, I don't want to say capacity or capability, but the sense of feeling European. I made the Erasmus, for example, and I said, okay, but why I have to go in Erasmus, or why do we have to have the same currency in all over the European Union, if then we cannot be agreed on a difficult situation that as we are facing now. And I hope that our government, I don't wanna speak about politics, but yes, I was kind of disappointed by the fact that we, the Italian, were like the poor abandoned over there, and in France, for example, no problem. So I really hope that also other people doing projects like this one or other projects could really help us to feel more united in this situation, and not only in this situation, but also for the future, for example, because everything can happen in the world.
It's maybe also the reason the gallery, I didn't name the gallery to the virus or something. I just wanted to have it like a united gallery where everybody is working together. And so maybe there's gonna be a second project that has a different happy topic. I have no idea, you know. That was a little bit the idea behind the name. Yeah, and as of your story, I cannot imagine how it must have been to be there. We just saw the images and we saw the numbers and stuff, and we were just lucky that here in Austria they started maybe not too early, but pretty early with our lockdown, and we all stayed at home. And I think people, what I saw when I was going for a grocery or something, they were pretty okay. You know, it was some chaos at the beginning, but I think after 1 week, everybody kept the distance, and later they was wearing the masks, and so this was, I think it did pretty well here from my point of view. And because you mentioned already, so we jumped to your first image, because that was the reason we are talking here today. And you tell me a little bit more about your painting.
Okay, this painting, I made it because a friend of mine suggests me something like that. Okay, you always painting like in bright colors, and I don't want to say that I paint happy people, because I don't paint smiling people usually. I try to paint I don't want to say sadness, but I paint sad people with the really bright color. But in this painting, I tried to do something different, because someone told me, why don't you paint your feeling about this coronavirus situation? Because you are an artist, so you have to give your gift to the world, and you have to create something that can remain, because this period would remain in the story, will remain in the story of every one of us. And I really think that if you do something like that, you will reach another level. And it took me 2 or 3 weeks to do a painting, but this one I did it like in 2 days, and it kind of a miracle, no? It's also small, it's not that big, it's like 40 per 30 centimeters, it's not that big. And I usually start from black and white pictures that I found, I don't know, on Pinterest or on the internet, and then I just modify it, as other artists did in the United gallery that you created. I see a lot of pictures that were modified, or also black and white pictures. So I try to do this kind of work, and I start from this black and white color, and then I try to add the colors that for me are representing better the situation. And the blue, because is the color of let's say clean, health, calm, but is also the color related to hospital, no? Because in hospital everything and the mask, they are also blue. And then I choose to use also these dark colors in order to make people feel the sensation of darkness and this death that is basically coming. And then the mask, because in origin the mask was not on the face of this girl. I chose the Italian flag, of course, because I'm Italian. And then there are like pieces of this girl and of this mask that are like spreading, like she's melting in this situation, because the situation is so bad that you have to be ready to everything, also to death, to die. You have to be ready to die, because you don't know if tomorrow you will be there, and if in the end you will be able to hug all of your friends or not, parents, nobody knows. And I'm really satisfied about this, and I'm also participating to Italian exhibition, and it will be exhibiting an exhibition, but I don't know actually when the gallery will be able to open, because another problem of we the artists during this period is that a lot of vernissage activities related to art and culture, I for example, cinemas and so on, cancelled, but we don't have any date. So also for an artist, not like me or like others that is in the beginning of his or her careers, is really difficult without contribution of these let's say actors in the art field. And so that's why I started to promote more myself on the web, on the social media. Fortunately, social media, seriously, they have a big power nowadays, and I think that we'll have more and more and more. And so now, for example, I'm participating to a lot of online exhibition, also with other paintings, not only with the one about that we're talking about now. I really think that in these pieces, I really, usually I paint something and I said, oh my God, this piece is, no, it's just not that good. And I'm not really happy, but because we, the artists, we are, I think that other artists have to live with this fact. I mean, you do something, but you're not really completely satisfied about what you're doing. And okay, for 1 second it's cool, but 2 weeks later, oh my God, what I did. But seriously, I'm really happy with that, because I think that I got the feeling of people who was working in hospitals, and I also did it thinking about my families and friends that I mentioned before, that has to work in a situation that they didn't know, like they were soldiers in a global war with a, let's say, invisible enemy that you don't know anything about, and you just have to go and fight and pray. I would say, let's pray if you believe or not.
I remember when I saw the image the first time, or your painting, it really struck me because it was so powerful, and yeah, the colors of Italy, of course, and then as you say, the dark spots, they make it like a little bit stronger even. Yeah, that was the moment when I thought, okay, I'm gonna write your message.
Thank you.
Because I liked it so much. It's really, really cool. Yeah, I should have went to Rome in March for an award. There was a ceremony. Now they postponed it to September, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to fly to Rome in September. So maybe it's gonna be next year. But yeah, whatever. That's not so important. I think this stuff can wait. So let's go to the next image. The number 2, the one where you have the painting in your hand.
Okay. Okay, this painting I painted because I had to participate to exhibition. Let's say the subject of the exhibition was love, and so it's a kind of strange painting because when one usually think about love, you think about I don't know, a couple and people kissing and so on. And I chose this because there is a sentence that I really like that says, give people you love wings to fly, roots to come back, and reason to stay. And in fact, reason to stay is the title of this painting, because I think that when you truly love someone, there should be trust, and trust of the fact that even if the person goes around doing his or her stuff, he will be back or she will be back. And so that's why you have the reason to stay. And I also struggle a lot with this painting because in my past, let's say, romantic life, let's say, I had to face a lot of abandonment and people who just decided to leave me from a day to another. But and in a period, I also was scared about get in touch with guys or having relationship, because I was so scared that people could leave from a moment to another. But then I learned the fact that you have to really have faith in people, because if you don't have faith in people, in love, friendship, relationship, also, by the way, you have, of course, to set healthy boundaries, because if a person is not treating you well, there's no reason to stay. But if you truly love someone, they have to be free. So they have to have wings to fly if they want to fly, but you also have to give them roots to come back and reason to stay. So that's why there is this open cage where there is these tiny spots, pixel, call it as you prefer, that are free to go out to this to the window, out of the window, and hopefully they are also free to come back. So that is the meaning behind this story. And I also like this painting because it was really challenging. Also, I use a lot of colors, and that is something that usually I don't do, because I try to stay on 2 or 3 tones maximum. And but it was I like it a lot. I like it. I like the effects, and also the dress of the girl. I hope people like that, but I don't know. It is one of the favorites on also on social media, and my friends, family, and so that's why I love it also, because it was a great success. Let's say that.
Oh no, it's really beautiful. As you said before, I'm a photographer, but I just always can talk about paintings from my point as a portrait photographer, and I like the mood of it. She's looking. Sad is maybe the wrong word, but somehow in this direction. But see, she's looking out of the window, and at the first moment, the little dots you mentioned, I saw them like little balloons. They are getting out of the cage. But I think the whole painting is beautiful. I like the colors. I like the pose. It's really like it a lot. And I really can relate to the things from about trust. If you don't start trust people again, to trust people again, it's gonna be very hard to connect to anybody.
Yes, and that's why I represent the cage, because when you get hurt from situation, what you do is like having a shield, so that people won't touch you when you are really cold and you are really disconnected from other people. But you can't have a relationship if you don't share, if you don't have a connection with others. But you have to be the first one to be connected to yourself, because if you're not connected to yourself, if you're not you, if you're not yourself, the other people, who has the relationship with? And so that's why before I told you, when I started the painting period, I also rediscover myself, and I also try to be a better person, also for other reason. But I think that yes, the roots to come back, then they also have to be the roots in yourself, in your purpose, in what you're doing every day. And if you don't have roots, if you're not centered, if you're not trustworthy to other people, you will not be able to have good and healthy relationship, both friendship and loving relationship, romantic relationship. So it's really important.
Yeah, I really agree 100%. What I also see is, hope I find the right words, that every time you get to know a new person, even if it's a friendship, as you said, or what else, yeah, they are not responsible for what you have had before, you know. You don't know how they are, you know, and that's the reason everybody gets a new chance from my point of view. Everybody I meet or everybody I'll see somewhere and talk with, it's like a new beginning. It has nothing to do with the past.
Yes, yes.
Okay, one more image, the last one.
Okay, and the last one is exactly related to what you mentioned just before. The title of this portrait is Flow, and the flow regarding the capacity, the capability, the acknowledgement to follow the flow of life. And so without forcing, without expect, without thinking about the past, just flow with what happens to your life. Because if you're influenced by what happened to you in the past, you'll not be able to flow and also to accept wonderful things that are coming into your life, because just you're blind, and so you're not able to accept what the universe, God, karma, call it whatever you want, that are just flowing to and through you. And so that's why there is this girl who is holding the head with her hand. She's also sad. Also in this case, I always paint sad faces, but it's okay. And that's why basically her hand is like melting, and these little dots are representing the flow within her and the universe. And that's why I call my painting style the soul painting, because I think that we are all connected one to another through someone that sometimes can be invisible, that is called the universe. But when you establish the true connection with people, is because there's something invisible from people and from you and the other person. So and it's also related to the fact that you have to flow with what's happening, because you will never be able to fall in love with another people if you still love the previous. For example, you have just to not stay attached to people, to things, to condition, to jobs, because you just have to flow. And so when I try to, I don't want to say force things, but when for example, there's something that I feel, okay, oh my God, it's happening seriously, a really bad situation, how can I manage it? I say, okay, no, even if this thing is bad, it's happening for a reason. And so I just have to flow and not staying there just crying on myself, oh my God, I prefer, I don't know, the last job or the ex-boyfriend. No, I just have to flow with what's happening, because if it's happening, it is because it's the best thing for me at this moment. And I was also thinking about this when my father was struggling with the virus, because I said, okay, if my father has to die or is ill, maybe this situation could be really important, because maybe it's also something that he has to face with. And then I noticed that when suddenly he recovered from the virus and so on, he was more kind to me, and my family also started to accept more the fact that I wanted to be an artist. And because probably when you have to, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò, so you have to be ready to everything, then you really start thinking, oh my God, what should I do for so my daughter, my children, my wife? Did I really did my best during my life or not? And so that's why I tell that this situation of the COVID-19 seriously is an opportunity for every one of us to do our best. It's not just something that has come for no reason.
No, this was really beautiful said, and I couldn't agree more. It's again very colorful, and this time I think what I saw the first time on this image, you have like got painted, how you call it, the contours, like you have like lines for like
Yes, because they are just colors that I love. I love teal and pink together, and so at a certain point I said, okay, why can't I do this outline in another color?
outline.
I am focused on this one. I mean, I don't want to paint just people as they are. I don't want to paint people in from a new perspective. And if I can imagine something, for me, it's real. So I try to imagine something and make it real. So that's why I always start from black and white portraits. I've never start from color portrait, because I don't know, I'm not influenced by that. And by the way, this pink one is one of my favorite configuration of skin tone. And I also did a couple of that, a couple of other small paintings with the pink. I don't know if you can see that below, behind me, but now I'm doing something in green, and I always studying the color combination that fits more. So I don't want it to be focused on just pink faces, because it's also annoying and it's not challenging for me. So, but yes, they are one of my favorite couple of colors together. So that's why there's this teal line, teal or Tiffany color, light blue, aqua bright. There are plenty of names.
So there's an important question I think right now. Is there a place where people can buy prints or buy the originals?
Actually, no, but I think that in a few months I will have a shop, and I will do it directly from my Instagram account. I don't have it now, because it was supposed to start, but honestly, in this period, starting a company due to coronavirus in the middle of the year, I mean, in Italy we have a lot of taxes, as I think in every country in Europe, so it was not convenient, and so my accountant just suggests me to, okay, you just started, so start, and then if you do billion of euros, maybe, I don't know, if you do billions, then we will like to arrange something. But yes, I will do this, that definitely. I think we will start from Etsy, from that is a platform that where artisan and other artists are going to are selling their artworks, but we are going to do a private website, and fortunately I have my brother who's dealing with that, because he works in the e-commerce field. So I'm in Italy we say that you are in a botte di ferro. That means you are in an iron jar, so that you are really safe in this situation, because there is everything it will flow and go in the right place at the right moment. So we are working about it, and for me, it's kind of difficult now to think about, living as an artist, because I am an engineer, so I did not study economy or marketing, so I don't know how to do. And I am trying by night to study and to improve my skill to do that at my best. Yes, so that's my goal for the end of 2020.
Yeah, I think if some people are really interested, they can anyway send you a message on Instagram and
Yes, of course, yes.
we're gonna figure something out. So, as my last question, as always, is if you have any question you want to ask yourself.
A question that I want to ask myself, mamma mia, if I ever had the courage to, once I will succeed as an artist, to leave everything behind me. I mean, what I studied all the years at the university, because I spent a lot of time in doing that. And someday, especially when I have a lot of people texting me through Instagram or other social media, and they are all really, I don't know, really kind people that encourage me in doing, okay, let's go, let's do that. And sometimes I think something like, I started working 6 years ago, but I think that in 6 years I never had so many people that was encouraging. I mean, my colleague, they were always kind. I mean, when you're when you are in a work environment, they are not always smiling to you and happy. No, in my case, no. And but when I think, okay, will I really have the courage to leave everything to do the full-time artist or not? And I don't want to say that I know the answer, that is yes. If I manage it, it is yes. But I think that this will be one of the most difficult question of my life. I think that I won't be able to sleep, and I don't know. But I think that I will take a decision. But yes, I mean, I started with the painting stuff in 1 year, last year. So, but constantly I started in September. So we are in May. So good things take time. And but sooner or later, I hope sooner, I really have to think about my future and what I really want to do. Yes, so that's a question, and I constantly think about it, because not for family but I mean, in this world, when you are kind of trying to be, when you're outstanding, I mean, when you're trying to do something that is just going out of the lines, going, have a job, pay the bills, and so it sounds strange to other people, and people perceive you as oh my god, do you want to be an artist? But so it means that you don't want to work. So as for example, as being an artist is not considered as a job in Italy, but I think also in other countries. So if you are an artist, okay, you're just down there laying in the street, drunk, with cigarette and alcohol. So that's the image that people have about artists, but it's nothing. It is nothing to deal with that. And so I know that there will be a lot of people that won't be able to accept that, and I think that is the saddest part, because if people don't accept the pathway that you are flowing through, maybe they are not your I don't know, real friend, best friend, and they are not the best people that you can be surrounded by. And so that's another sad situation that I will have to manage in the future. But chi mi ama mi segue. So in Italian we say also this: the one who loves me and they will follow me. If they don't follow me, they don't love me. So, but I will do that, I'm sure.
It's really a beautiful sentence to the end. You have like so many beautiful sayings. This sounds so good to me. I don't understand anything about them. My girlfriend can speak some Italian, but I don't get anything.
Ah, okay.
Well, it sounds always so beautiful to me. But so back to your question, I think that's a lot you have to think about. But there's a video from Anton. I did an interview with him. He's a photographer since 23 years, and he's talking about the same stuff. So maybe I'm gonna send you a link afterwards, and you maybe wanna listen to that one. Maybe it's inspiring for you.
Yes, of course. I definitely think that he will inspire me. I'm sure.
Yeah, he has some good points. Okay, everybody, this was another video podcast. As every time, there's down in the descriptions the links to Nadia's Instagram and everything else we're gonna have here. Visit our gallery. You saw it at the beginning, and thanks for the nice conversation, Nadia, and talk to you soon, hopefully.
Yes, thank you, Marcus, for the opportunity, and I hope you guys would enjoy my Instagram page and also the United Art Gallery, because it's a really strong project, and I'm sure that everyone who sees the project will share and seriously get in touch with the message that you are taking to the world. That is really important. So thank you for the opportunity.